Something about this week on the PGA Tour just feels different. The atmosphere surrounding professional golf carries an underlying tension that extends far beyond standard tournament excitement. Observers and attendees recognize a distinct friction operating beneath the surface of the competition. Because at the exact same time, we are watching some of the biggest moments of the season unfold. The focus is divided between the physical execution of golf shots and the ongoing administrative reality of sport. And what is crazy is it is not just one story. Two simultaneous narratives are currently unfolding. And when connected, they highlight a much broader sequence of events dictating the future of professional golf. The first narrative centers on a highly direct and uncompromising opinion voiced by a legendary figure in the sport, which immediately generated extensive discussion among the professional golf community. The second narrative involves a real-time competitive situation occurring directly on the golf course, effectively bringing established historical tensions back to the forefront of the public conversation. The stakes involved directly impact the structural foundation and operational future of professional golf. Before examining the specific details of these concurrent situations, please consider liking this video and subscribing to the platform. This channel is brand new. We're trying to hit 10,000 subscribers, and it is all about talking golf the way fans actually talk about it. The initial focal point of this ongoing situation occurred at the Masters located at Augusta National, serving as one of the most recognized and traditional environments in professional golf. During the ceremonial opening tee shots, Tom Watson participated alongside fellow golf legends Jack Nicklaus and Gary Player. As an 8-time major champion and a highly respected voice within the golf establishment, Tom Watson utilized the platform to explicitly address the current state of professional golf. His commentary specifically targeted returning players, with a direct focus on Brooks Koepka. The context for these statements stems from the fact that Brooks Koepka officially returned to the PGA Tour in January after competing for 4 seasons with the LIV Golf League. The PGA Tour facilitated this return by establishing a highly specific administrative pathway known as the Returning Member Program. This framework was constructed exclusively for a select group of professional golfers. It applied directly to individuals who had secured major championship victories since 2022, a criterion that specifically encompassed Bryson DeChambeau, Jon Rahm, Cameron Smith, and Brooks Koepka. The program required participants to declare their intentions by a firm deadline of February 2nd. Returning under this specific program included mandatory and substantial penalties. Participants were required to submit a $5 million charitable donation. Furthermore, returning players were explicitly denied access to the PGA Tour Equity Program for a duration of 5 years. Additionally, they were disqualified from participating in the FedEx Cup bonus program for the 2026 season. Despite the severity of these financial and structural penalties, Tom Watson maintained the position that the established consequences remained entirely too lenient. His preferred outcome eliminated the possibility of any established return pathway. I thought the LIV players, when they left, they were supposed to be banned for life. If I was commissioner, that's what I would do. As an alternative to a permanent ban, he outlined a remarkably strict rehabilitation process for any returning major champion. I'd say if you're finished with your contract with LIV Golf, if you want to play the PGA Tour again, you come back, and you must play the Korn Ferry Tour for a year to qualify for it. This specific proposal would force established major champions to participate in the secondary developmental tour, grinding like rookies for an entire year to re-qualify for standard membership. The foundation of this uncompromising stance relates directly to the core business principles governing professional golf. When the players left, they violated the number one rule, which is to protect the sponsors. The financial model of the PGA Tour operates primarily on corporate investment, and that investment is secured by the presence of recognizable talent. Sponsors need players. They need the names to be able to promote their tournaments. When prominent golfers departed the established ecosystem to play in unauthorized, conflicting events without respecting the operational rules of the PGA Tour, the structural integrity of that sponsorship model was compromised. The situation is defined by a fundamental choice framework. The players who departed prioritized guaranteed financial compensation over the established structural requirements of the tour. When the players left for LIV, I think it was basically over. He acknowledges the financial realities of the decisions made by the players, noting the massive monetary guarantees provided by the Saudi Arabia Public Investment Fund. However, he maintains that the consequences of that choice should have been permanent. They chose to go for the money, which is fine, but to return to the tour, I thought, was a non-starter, but apparently it's not. The current administrative reality directly contradicts this traditional perspective. Brooks Koepka has successfully re-entered the ecosystem. The operational door remains open, and additional prominent names are actively lining up to secure a pathway back. Patrick Reed serves as the most prominent current example, though his specific timeline involves a different set of administrative realities. Due to his ongoing LIV Golf commitments, he has been informed that a return to standard PGA Tour events cannot commence until the end of August. This creates a significant dilemma for observers and followers of the sport. There is a desire to see the highest level of competitive golf, which requires the best players competing together in the same fields. However, the tour administration has demonstrated a willingness to bend its initial disciplinary boundaries more than certain traditionalists are comfortable accepting, creating ongoing tension between competition quality and operational principle. The specific timing of these statements created a perfect storm of conflicting narratives. While Tom Watson was publicly articulating his stance that returning players should face lifetime bans or demotion to the Korn Ferry Tour, Patrick Reed was simultaneously executing a highly successful performance at the Masters. On the opening day of the tournament, Patrick Reed secured a position near the absolute top of the leaderboard. His presence and performance at Augusta National carry significant weight. As the 2018 Masters champion, he is a proven competitor on the most demanding stages in professional golf. He also stands as one of the most discussed and heavily scrutinized figures among the group of LIV Golf defectors. The stark irony of the situation was immediately apparent. Patrick Reed is currently navigating the complex administrative process of attempting to find his way back to regular PGA Tour competition, while an 8-time major champion utilizes the exact same tournament platform to publicly assert that individuals like him should be permanently excluded. This dynamic is deeply rooted in the context of the Golf Civil War. The origins of this division date back to 2022, when LIV Golf, operating with heavy financial backing from Saudi Arabia's Public Investment Fund, began aggressively recruiting top-tier professional talent with massive guaranteed contracts. The immediate impact was substantial. Prominent names departed. The PGA Tour implemented defensive suspensions, and the broader community of fans and players fractured into opposing camps. Even following the highly publicized 2023 merger announcement, which outlined a framework agreement between the PGA Tour, the DP World Tour, and the Public Investment Fund, the current status of the sport remains fractured. There is still no fully unified operational system governing men's professional golf. Olive branches have been extended, and administrative conversations are actively happening behind closed doors, but the operational scars haven't healed. The direct and unyielding comments provided by Tom Watson serve as concrete proof of the ongoing division within the highest levels of the sport. The specific operational details governing these returns are highly complex. Brooks Koepka, at 35 years old, successfully qualified for immediate reinstatement by meeting the specific criteria outlined within the returning member program. This involves securing major championship victories during the specified eligibility window. The financial penalty associated with this return was unprecedented in the history of the sport. Reports indicate that the cumulative fines required to facilitate his return reached approximately $63 million. This represents a remarkably serious financial price to pay for the ability to compete on the PGA Tour once again. Conversely, Patrick Reed is currently navigating an entirely different path. His major championship victory occurred at the Masters in 2018, which falls outside the established program window of 2022 to 2025. Consequently, his route to reinstatement is significantly slower and highly restricted. He will not be eligible to regain full PGA Tour membership until January 2027. However, he will become eligible to play in specific PGA Tour events starting in August, marking exactly 1 year after his final appearance in an LIV Golf event. Regarding his desire to rejoin the traditional ecosystem, he has stated clearly, "I'm a traditionalist at heart, and I was born to play on the PGA Tour, which is where my story began with my wife, Justine." These administrative maneuverings represent exactly the type of institutional compromise that catalyzed the current frustration. From the perspective of traditionalists, the Tour is systematically backing away from its original operational stance. The Tour made a decision to renege on what they promised when the players left for LIV. This specific phrasing highlights the central emotional point of the entire conflict: the ongoing debate regarding what loyalty to the established Tour actually means in practical terms. The fundamental issue driving this resistance consistently returns to the sponsor argument. Corporate sponsors rely exclusively on the presence of star players to generate television ratings, drive ticket sales, and successfully promote regional tournaments. This dynamic serves as the foundational business model keeping the entire operation running. When prominent players departed to play in unauthorized events wherever they chose, the foundational structure of the system cracked. This specific dynamic did not solely impact the central Tour administration. It affected the entire golf business ecosystem. The departure of recognizable talent forced television networks, corporate partners, and tournament organizers to reevaluate their financial commitments. The players made a calculated choice to prioritize guaranteed upfront money over their operational commitments to the Tour. This decision, from a traditional operational perspective, should have permanently concluded their PGA Tour chapter. However, the current reality diverges sharply from this ideal. The Tour administration is actively attempting to move forward by establishing pathways for players to come back. Meanwhile, respected historical figures continue pulling the conversation back to what the original departures actually meant for the integrity of the sport. For observers, this creates a strange in-between phase. Watching the strict administrative criticism combine with the reality of returning players actively climbing major championship leaderboards leave a very big question concerning the absolute future of the PGA Tour. The current landscape of professional golf features two distinct visions actively colliding in real time. Vision 1 focuses entirely on tradition, established loyalty, and structural consequences. This perspective advocates for lifetime bans, or at minimum, forcing returning players to rebuild their careers entirely through the Korn Ferry Tour. It represents a rigid interpretation of what the PGA Tour should be moving forward. Vision 2 represents the evolving administrative reality. It features an operational structure where individuals navigate complex penalty systems to secure reinstatements. It involves prominent figures like Bryson DeChambeau, Jon Rahm, and Cameron Smith existing as potential parts of a new structure designed specifically to bring top talent back together under a single competitive umbrella. These colliding visions are further complicated by massive background negotiations. The unfinished situation involving the DP World Tour and the proposed partnership with the Public Investment Fund continues to loom over every decision. This specific framework agreement was supposed to unify the sport completely, yet it still hasn't fully materialized into a concrete operational reality. What this tells us is that the PGA Tour is currently right in the middle of redefining its entire operational identity. This process is not simply positive or negative. It is highly complicated. The prospect of seeing the best players potentially coming back together to compete on a weekly basis is undeniably exciting for the sport. Conversely, the presence of real, fundamental disagreements concerning fairness, institutional loyalty, and core values remains deeply concerning. The choices being made today are guaranteed to shape what the PGA Tour looks like for years to come. A strong voice demanding lifetime bans serves as a potent reminder that not everyone is on the same page, while fans are left watching this decisive moment play out in real time. The ultimate resolution of this administrative and ideological conflict remains undetermined. Do you agree with Tom Watson? Should LIV Golf players have faced a lifetime ban? Or is the tour doing the right thing by opening the door again? Drop your thoughts in the comments and let's talk about it. If you enjoyed this kind of real, honest PGA Tour conversation, go ahead and like the video and consider subscribing to PGA Tour today. The channel is brand new. We are pushing toward 10,000 subscribers. And if you are someone who really follows this game and cares about where it is going, this is exactly the place for you.